Welcome to the Digital Legacy Lab, the Digital Products Mastery course. So, hey there and welcome. I'm so glad that you're here. This space was created with heart for dreamers, doers, and digital creators just like you who are ready to build something meaningful. Whether you're just starting or finding your way back to your creative spark, you belong here. Inside the lab, you'll find simple, step by step tools, gentle guidance, and proven strategies to help you grow a digital product business you can be proud of. One that supports your goals, your lifestyle, and your peace of mind. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to begin. And I'll be with you every step of the way. Let's build something beautiful together, one digital step at a time. Welcome to your next chapter. Welcome to the Digital Legacy Lab. Love, Jane. So, hi, my name is Jade. I am a loud introvert that love books and animals. So, I started my journey last October of 2024 and then I stopped and then I started again this January 2025. So, struggling between sleep, graveyard shifts, and constant mental health battles, I created this space to help people who just want to be themselves. Maybe you can learn from my experiences and start from there. So let's start with the Module 1 overview. Here are the things that you will learn as we go on. First would be why digital products are the most accessible way to start a business in 2025. Next, niche clarity, how to choose a niche you'll actually stick with. Next is digital product types and which ones you can create fast. The next would be the faceless but fearless brand method. And the last one would be setting up your creator toolkit with free tools and must haves. Lesson 1: Why digital products are the most accessible business in 2025. Let's get into it. Why are the digital products the smartest, simplest way to start a business this year? Because the world has shifted in our favor. You don't need to rent a space, you don't need investors, you don't even need to show your face on camera if you don't want to. So, what do you need? An idea, a skill, a story, and a willingness to start messy and improve as you go. The digital product for key advantages. So, let's break it down. Digital products give you what I call the freedom formula. First one would be low startup costs. So you don't need thousands of dollars, just a laptop, Wi-Fi, and you're brilliant. So unlike physical businesses requiring significant capital, digital products can be created with minimal investment. All you need is a computer or your cell phone, internet connection, and your expertise. So no loan or investors required. Next would be no inventory management. So no storage rooms, no packing tape, no sorry, we're out of stock. So forget about warehousing, shipping logistics, or unsold inventory. Digital products exist as files that deliver instantly to customers without any physical storage concerns or shipping delays. Next is infinite scalability. It's like create one, sell forever. To five people or 5,000, effort stays the same. So your digital course, template, or software can serve 10 customers or 10,000 with virtually the same effort, allowing exponential growth without proportional cost increases. Last would be location independence. You can work anywhere, the beach, couch, your bed. So it's like your schedule, your term. So work from anywhere on your own schedule. Digital product businesses grant freedom from commutes and 95 constraints, enabling you to build around your ideal lifestyle. The 2025 digital landscape. Let's talk about timing. The digital product market is booming. We're on track to hit $415 billion globally this year. That's not a typo. Most people are online, more people are buying digital, and more tools exist than ever to help you get started, even if you're not techie. Platforms like Canva, Notion, Gumroad, or ChatGPT, they've flattened the learning curve. You don't need a degree in marketing or a background in design, you just need guidance and a little courage. So why 2025 is different? It comes from creator tools revolution, no code platforms, AI assistants, and intuitive design tools have eliminated technical barriers. The global digital adoption, 5.4 billion people now online with growing comfort in digital purchases. With frictionless payments, one click purchasing, and cryptocurrency options reduce transaction barriers. And also, community centered economy, value driven purchases, and direct creator support becoming the norm. So, the digital landscape has fundamentally transformed in ways that specifically benefit new entrepreneurs. The technology evolution has dramatically reduced the skill requirement while simultaneously expanding your potential audience. What once required a development team and significant investment can now be accomplished by a single creator with minimal resources. So why now is perfect. So here's where it gets exciting. 2025 is what I call the Goldilocks zone. Not too early, not too late, just right. Right now, we have the perfect market timing. Growing demand with manageable competition are available. Accessible technology with no-code platforms and AI assistance that lowers barriers, and of course the economic advantage of lower startup costs with higher profit margin. Not people are used to buying digital now. The market is still open and growing, and the tools better than ever, easier than ever, cheaper than ever. The tech is ready, the buyers are ready, and you're closer than you think. The current environment represents a rare Goldilocks zone for digital entrepreneurs. The market has matured enough to demonstrate proven business models but hasn't reached saturation. This creates an exceptional window for opportunity where you can enter with relatively low competition while benefiting from established distribution channels. So, what happens next? Here are your next three steps to take. First is identify your expertise. What knowledge, skills, or resources do you already possess that could be packaged into a valuable digital product? The most successful digital entrepreneurs start by leveraging existing strengths rather than learning completely new domains. Ask yourself, what do I know that someone else would love to learn? It doesn't have to be mind blowing, it just has to be helpful. Next, research market demand. Use tools like Google Trends, Reddit communities, and Amazon bestsellers to identify specific problems people are actively seeking solutions for. The most profitable products solve real pain points that customers are already searching for. So people are telling us what they need. We just have to listen. Last would be create your minimum viable product. Start small with a focused solution that addresses one specific problem extremely well. Launch quickly to real customers, gather feedback, and improve based on actual user experience rather than assumption. So don't make wait to make it perfect. You don't need permission, you don't need to go viral, you don't need to be perfect, you just need to begin. Solve one specific problem well and launch it simply. Lesson number two, niche clarity. Why do you need a niche? So let's talk about one of the most misunderstood but most powerful decisions you'll ever make in your digital business. choosing your niche. Now, I know even just hearing the word niche makes some people freeze. It feels limiting. It feels like you're being asked to choose just one thing in a world where you love so many. But here's the truth: a niche doesn't box you in, it launches you forward. It doesn't shrink your business, it gives it direction, momentum, and clarity. So be real for a second. The digital marketplace is crowded. Everyone is selling something. And if you try to be for everyone, you end up being forgettable. When you don't have a niche, you're like a small fish in an entire ocean. But when you do have one, you become the big fish in a very intentional pond. You stop shouting into the void and start speaking directly to the people who need what you've got. And when your message hits the right person at the right time, that's when magic happens. Let's compare. If you go wide, the generalist route, you'll face high competition, vague messaging, price sensitivity, and slower growth. Now, contrast that with the niche first approach. You'll have less competition, laser focused messaging, premium pricing potential, and faster trust and authority building. So, see the difference? Niching down doesn't make you smaller, it makes you sharper. And in 2025's fast moving market, clarity is your greatest weapon. Finding your perfect niche. So, how do you actually find your niche? The ideal niche exists in the intersection of three critical elements: your personal passions, the profit potential, and the genuine problem solving. This sweet spot ensures you'll remain motivated while building a sustainable business. So let's break that down. First up, passion, your fuel for the journey. What excites you enough to persist through challenges? Your passion is what keeps you going when growth is slow or doubts creeps in. So ask yourself, what do I love learning about? What kind of work energizes me instead of drain me? What's something I could talk about for hours? So passion gives you staying power, but passion alone isn't enough. Next is profit. Is there a demand? So where is there willingness to pay? So you need to make sure people are not just interested but willing to pay. So you need to look for existing products in the space, audiences with disposable income, and signs of recurring revenue potential. So money flows where problems get solved. So if there's already demand, you're on the right track. Finally, problem. Which pain points need solutions? What problem are you solving? So, this is where your offer becomes valuable. Because when you solve a real pain point, something urgent, annoying, or deeply emotional, people take action. So, you need to look for repeated frustrations in online forums, gaps in competitor offerings, inefficiencies that you can fix faster or better. So, the bigger the problem, the bigger the opportunity. Validating your niche. So now don't skip this part because validation is key. Before you build the course, write the ebook, or launch the brand, you need to confirm that people want what you're planning to create. So effective validation combines multiple research methods to give you a comprehensive picture. This multifaceted approach reduces risk by ensuring your business concept addresses real market needs with sufficient demand and reasonable competition levels. So here's how. First is keyword research. So use tools like Google Keyword Planner or Uber Suggest to see what people are searching for and how competitive it is. So look for keywords with decent search volume, 1K plus monthly searches, but moderate competition. Next, social listening. Hang out in Reddit threads, Facebook groups, Discord communities. What are people complaining about? What keeps coming up? So pay attention to emotional language that indicates strong needs. Next, competitor research. Study the top creators in your potential niche. What are they doing well? Where are the gaps? So study successful competitors to understand their offerings, the pricing models, and positioning. So look for gaps in their solutions that you could potentially fill with your unique approach. Last would be trend analysis. Check Google Trends. Look at rising topics. You want a niche with steady growth, not a fad that fades. Scoring your niche options. So once you identified and validated potential niche, a systematic scoring framework helps you make the final selection objectively. So this approach prevents decision based on purely emotion, or recency bias. So for the scorecard, score each potential niche on a scale of 1 to 5 across multiple criteria, with 5 representing the strongest alignment. This quantitative approach brings clarity to what can otherwise be an overwhelming decision process. So, now, if you've got multiple niche ideas, don't just go with your gut, score them. So you can use this framework and you can adjust the evaluation criteria based on your own targets. Choose the one with the highest score and feels aligned with your gut. So that balance, that's where the confidence lives. The sustainability factor. Before you commit, ask yourself three final questions. First would be the sustainability check. Will I still care about this in 2 to 3 years? If the answer is no, it might not be sustainable. Number two, growth potential. Does this niche have room to expand? Look for opportunities to develop multiple products or services within the same audience. If it stops there, it's not sustainable. Last, can I genuinely connect with this community? The best digital businesses are built on real connection. If you can speak with your audience language, your marketing becomes effortless. So remember, this is not a one time transaction. You're building a relationship with your niche. Lesson number three, digital product type. So today we're diving into one of the most exciting and sometimes overwhelming parts of building your digital business. What kind of digital product should you create? So this lesson is your guide to that answer. Whether you're just starting or ready to expand your product line, you will learn the spectrum of digital products, what fits your skills and lifestyle, and how to move from idea to launch without getting stuck in perfectionism. Because here's the truth, you don't have to build a 6-month mega course to make an impact. Sometimes all it takes is one simple solution: launch well to change everything. Let's explore your options. The product spectrum overview. So, digital products exist on a spectrum. The complexity of a product typically correlates with development time, required technical skills, and potential market value. So, on one end, we have quick to create offers like ebooks or checklists. On the other, complex things like software or interactive tools. So think of it like this: information products have lower complexity but faster creation. For templates and tools, they offer medium complexity and moderate creation time. But for complex softwares, they offer high value and high complexity. So there's no best place to start. There's only what's best for you, your current skills, your available time, and your energy. And for most of us, we start simple, then scale up. So let's talk about information products. Information products represent the entry point for many digital creators. This is the most beginner friendly way to monetize what you know. They leverage your existing knowledge and can be created with minimal technical skills. The key to success is identifying specific problems your audience faces and presenting solutions in an accessible, actionable format. So we're talking about ebooks and guides. They teach process, solve a problem, or share your knowledge. For mini courses, these are short, focused, and packed with value courses. For checklists and workbooks, these are tools that help people take action quickly. So these are fast to create, affordable for your audience, and perfect for building trust. You can price them between $7 to $97 or around 400 pesos and above, and you can scale infinitely. And the best part, you don't need fancy tools, just your brain, your story, and some Google Docs magic. Next, we level up with templates and tools, which offer more value and more impact. So, templates and tools save people time. So they occupy the middle ground of digital products. They require more technical skills than basic information products, but deliver higher perceived value. The key advantage is that they save users significant time and help them achieve professional results without specialized expertise. So these includes document templates. So think about business contracts, client proposals, planners. Next are spreadsheets tools. They are automated calculators, budget trackers, or goal planners. Last are email templates. These are pre-written sequences for launches, onboarding, and more. So these products feel premium to your audience because they shortcut their effort. And because they offer tangible results, they can command higher prices, often $27 to $297 or starting from 1,500 pesos. Now, for my creatives, the graphics and digital arts for visual builders. So, if you're design inclined or visually expressive, the digital product world is wide open to you too. So, you can create digital planners, interactive PDFs, or app based systems. Stock photos, which are beautiful theme photos bundled for marketers and content creators, POD designs, graphics for merchandise and customized products, or even digital stickers. So these products shine in niche like lifestyle, wellness, productivity, and education. And they're exploding in popularity actually, especially in Etsy, Creative Market, and Gumroad. So if you love designing, these are hungry market for you can make. So, from idea to first draft, your creation timeline. How long does it take to build a digital product? So, actually, it depends. Creating digital products requires realistic timeline planning based on complexity, your available time, and skill level. The good enough launch principle suggests releasing a solid initial version rather than seeking perfection, allowing you to gather feedback and improve through iterations. But here's a simple framework for you. First would be idea validation. It would take 1 to 2 weeks. You need to research market demand, competitor offerings, and validate your concept with potential customers. Next would be your first draft creation. can take 2 to 4 weeks in total. Develop the core content or functionality of your product. For information products, aim for 80% completion before refinement. Next is testing and refinement. It can take 1 to 2 weeks. Gather feedback from beta testers and make necessary improvements to enhance usability and value. Then lastly would be the launch preparation. It can take 1 week. Finalize marketing materials, sales page, and delivery mechanisms for a smooth customer experience. So don't wait for perfection. Launch a version that's good enough and use feedback to improve. Remember, the goal isn't to launch once, it's to launch better over time. Done is better than perfect, and version 1 is better than version none. So now the question is simple. What product will you create first? Not what's the biggest thing I could build, but what's the fastest path to solve one real problem for one real person. Lesson 4 would be the faceless but fearless brand method. So let's clear up a myth real quick. You do not need to be the face of your brand to build trust, make sales, or scale a successful business. You don't need to show your home, your partner, your coffee, or your face. That's what the faceless but fearless method is all about. Because in 2025, personal privacy is powerful. People are craving value, not personalities. And your brand can absolutely stand tall, even if you prefer to stand behind the curtain. Let me show you how. The faceless brand benefits. So, faceless brand equals smart brand. So, many of today's most successful companies operate without a visible founder at the helm. These faceless brands demonstrate that customers connect with values, solutions, and experiences, not just personalities. So, going faceless isn't hiding, it's building a system that works without needing your constant presence. So, here's what it gives you: enhance privacy. So, maintain a clear separation between your personal and professional life. This boundary protection prevents the exhaustion that comes with always being on and shields you from unnecessary public scrutiny. Protect your personal life and mental bandwidth. Next, increase scalability. So your business becomes easier to scale when it isn't dependent on your personal time and energy. This structure creates greater potential for passive income and makes the business more attractive to potential buyers. Build a brand that doesn't rely on you to operate. Last would be creative freedom. Enjoy the flexibility to pivot, experiment with new offers, or even exit completely without disrupting your audience experience. This arrangement provides strategic agility that personality based brands often lack. So, this method isn't about being invisible, it's about being intentional. Here's how to make it work. Your brand foundation act as the core identity that customers will recognize and trust. By carefully developing each element, you create a strong, memorable presence that doesn't rely on your personal image or constant involvement. So first, develop a clear brand identity that speaks louder than any selfie ever could. So your brand needs a voice. So develop a consistent, recognizable communication style that resonates with your target audience across all platform and touchpoints. A recognizable way of communicating. Friendly, bold, quirky, clear. Next is visual identity. Create a cohesive visual system including logo, colors, typography, and imagery that instantly identifies your brand without requiring your face. Next would be brand story. Craft a compelling narrative about your company's mission, values, and purpose that customers can connect with emotionally. Last would be consistency. Maintain uniformity across all customer interactions to build recognition, trust, and professional reputation over time. So repeat your style and message everywhere: social, sales, and support. When people can recognize your brand without seeing you, you're doing it right. Building authority without a personal brand. So now let's talk about credibility. You don't need to be an influencer. You need to demonstrate expertise, invisibly but undeniably. So here's how. Expert content creation. Create how to guides, case studies, and deep dive resources. Make your knowledge tangible. Develop in depth articles, guides, and resources that showcase your brand's expertise and knowledge. So, this positions your company as an authority without requiring you to be the face. Next would be social proof amplification. Let others tell your story. Use reviews, testimonials, screenshots, and media mentions. Strategically collect and showcase evidence of your brand's effectiveness and popularity. So, this builds credibility through third party validation. Last is data backed decision making. Back up your claims with research, stats, and performance metrics because facts speaks. Data-backed decision making, leverage research, statistics, and analytics to support your brand claims and demonstrate superior knowledge of your market and customers. So these tools position you as an authority even if no one knows your face or full name. Authority isn't about personal fame. It's about consistently demonstrating expertise and value. Standing out without showing up. Your positioning formula is what makes customers choose you over competitors. By focusing on customers' journey from problem to solution rather than your own personal story, you create a compelling brand that connects with their needs and aspirations. So, how do you stand out without being the face? With a killer positioning statement. It should answer four things. One, identify the problem. What pain is your audience experiencing? Next, present your solution. What do you offer that fixes it? Next would be paint the outcome. What transformation do they get? What answers do they get from you? And last, prove your claims. Why should they believe you? So, for example, we help busy creatives launch their first digital products in 30 days using ready-made templates. No design, skills needed, no burnout required. So you see, clear, confident, conversion ready. So that's how a faceless brand connects deeply without ever appearing on camera. So capture this positioning in a clear, concise one-liner that communicates who you help, how you help them, and the outcome that they can expect. This becomes your North Star for all marketing efforts. Lesson 5 would be building your digital creator toolkit. So let's get real for a second. You can have all the talent in the world, but without the right tools and systems, it's like trying to build a skyscraper with a spoon. So, this lesson is your creator toolkit, your digital command center. Whether you're just getting started or looking to level up, we're about to set you up for a smoother workflows, better focus, and products that feel professional from day one. Because when your systems are strong, your creativity flows. And when your tools are working, so are you, but with less stress. Let's start with free tools. And yes, I mean really free, not free for 7 days. These tools will help you create, manage, and launch with zero upfront costs. So for content creation, Google Docs for writing, Audacity for audio recording, OBS Studio for screen capture and streaming, and Canvas free tier for basic design needs. Next would be design. For design, GIMP for photo editing, Inkspace for vector graphics, and Figma's free plan for interface design and prototyping your digital products. For file management, you can use Google Drive. They offer 15 GB free storage. We have Trello's free plan for project tracking and Notion's personal plan for organizing your content calendar. And for communication, we have Slack's free tier for team collaboration, Zoom's basic plan for client meetings, and MailChimp's starter plan for email marketing to your first 2,000 subscribers. So these tools, they enough to run a lean, legitimate digital business. So start here, grow as you go. You can list down all of these tools so that you can manage and view it anytime you want. Smart upgrades. So when and where to upgrade. Eventually, free has limits, and the key is knowing when a paid tool is an investment, not an expense. So you need to ask yourself, how much time does this tool save me? What's that time worth at my current hourly rate? Will this directly improve my product or my process? So when considering paid tools, calculate your potential return on investment. For example, a $49 per month or 3,000 pesos per month editing software that saves you 5 hours weekly is worth it if your hourly rate exceeds $10. So start with tools that directly impact your product quality or save significant time. The most worthwhile early investments typically include Adobe Creative Cloud for professional design, a premium email marketing platform when you exceed 2,000 subscribers, and paid course or membership platforms as your customer base grows. Remember that the right tool can multiply your productivity and elevate your product quality. So let's be honest, most creators don't have a content problem. They have a chaos problem. A well organized digital workspace saves countless hours and prevents the frustration of lost files. Implement this structure from the beginning, even if your business is small. The time invested in organization compounds as your library of assets grow. You can consider creating templates for recurring documents and standardizing your workspace across devices. This consistency will help you maintain focus on creation rather than administration, especially when your business begins to scale. You can try using the folder structure, making separate folders for each offer, the file naming convention, and the backup strategy. A little discipline now saves hours later and protects what you've built. For your creation system, let's talk about workflow. Creativity without structure leads to burnout. Establishing a repeatable workflow transforms chaotic creation into a systematic process. Begin by capturing ideas in a dedicated space, then schedule focused creation blocks of 60 to 90 minutes without notification. So here's a repeatable creation process you can follow. First would be ideation. So brainstorm concepts and validate with target audience. Number two, production. Create initial drafts and gather early feedback. Next, refinement. Polish content and enhance presentation. Does it solve a problem? Is it clean, clear, and compelling? Last would be launch. Publish and promote your finished product. So prep your platform, your sales page, and your email list, then hit publish. And here's a pro tip. Batch similar tasks. Write 3 emails at once, create 5 graphics in one sitting, edit 2 modules back to back. So this turns chaos into consistency. So incorporate quality checkpoints at each stage. Does it solve a real problem? Is the content structured logically? Have I eliminated technical barriers? Is the design professional and consistent? Having a documented workflow makes it easier to batch similar tasks and eventually delegate portions of your process as your business grow. For managing your assets, every image, every script, every email you create is a business asset. So treat them like gold. Effective resource management extends beyond files to include your time and creative energy. Create an asset library with consistent tags and categories so you can quickly find and repurpose materials for future projects. This prevents the common pitfall of recreating assets you already have. For visual assets, you can organize images, graphics, and videos by project and type. For written content, maintain a searchable library of copy, scripts, and templates. For time blocking, you can schedule focus creation periods and administrative tasks. And for regular review, audit and optimize your system quarterly. You've completed Module 1 of the Digital Legacy Lab. That's not a small thing because this first chapter, it's where most people quit. It's where self-doubt creeps in, where shiny objects try to pull you in other directions. But not you. You showed up, you absorbed the lessons, you built the foundation, and now you're ready to build something real. So, for a quick recap of what you've mastered, let's look at what you've unlocked. So, you encountered core concept. You understand how digital products works and why now is the moment to launch. You also had niche clarity. You're no longer guessing who you're serving. You know. For product strategy, you've explored what to create and how to make it scalable. And the toolkit setup, you've built the systems that make creativity sustainable. And most importantly, you've gone from dreaming to doing. So for your next steps would be your implementation plan. So for week 1, you need to review and plan. Revisit the module materials and create your personalized action plan with specific goals. Now, for week 2 to 3 would be the initial implementation. Apply your skills to one specific project or area. Start with smaller, manageable components, document your process and outcome. For week 4 would be to evaluate and adjust. Assess your progress and refine your approach based on initial results. And for weeks 5 to 8 would be expand application. Broaden implementation across multiple projects and areas. So remember, progress isn't linear. You're allowed to go back, revisit, and relearn. This isn't about perfect execution, it's about persistent evolution. So you're no longer at the starting line. You're in motion, you're building. One tool at a time, one lesson at a time, one win at a time. So you're no longer thinking about being a creator. You are one. So are you ready for module 2?